Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Malifaux, and tonight we're playing a Divergent Paths game for the Trickster. To recap, our heroine has escaped the lab of McMorning, wearing the skin of a hapless guild officer, and whilst whinging in an alley about the horrific pain she's in, meets with the Dreamer, and the two of them hit it off, and play many fun games with each other. One such game we now observe. Using her newfound reality warping powers, the Trickster is going to show the Dreamer how a democratic election works. That's right, I'm once more shamelessly using my lofty platform of a wargaming channel to comment on politics. So, how this is going to work? Well, we've got a polling station in the centre of the table, height 2, impassable blocking, everything a good polling station needs. And our crews are going to use it, they're going to interact with it to vote. And most number of votes wins the election, don't you know? However, that would be too simple if it was just it. So ever so cunningly, both our crews have come in disguise. So I'm playing as the Republicans disguised as Democrats, whilst my opponent's Democrats are disguised as Republicans. We can each take we've got access to a rare 3/1 Soulstone upgrade, which gives models with it the disguised ability. And only these disguised models can interact with the voting station. But democracy is fraught with many perils, and every time either crew casts a vote, we will flip a card, and if it's a mask, Lord Wobbly Bits will be summoned from the gates of hell and champion those that the system is leaving behind. His followers will then stop voting or behaving with any kind of dignity or interest in policies, and instead start scoring points from the character assassinations achieved by Lord Trumpy Bits. Lord Trumpy heals when he kills off a competitor, as well as scoring VP. Anyone voting will fully heal and remove all conditions from Lord Trumpy, and he also has a 0 action to place within 3 inches of the polling station, and draw a card for the number of draw cards equal to the number of voters within 3 inches of it. And befitting his station, he's got the stats of the Nightmare, the Tyrant Nightmare. The Democratic Republicans were made to set out their policies first, and they brought up the Brutal Emissary with Conflict of Judgment. An Exorcist, we're going to be needing one of those once this election's over. A Death Marshal, Mr. Queeg, with Promises and a Disguise. The Brutal Effigy, Francisco Ortega, with Wade In and Disguise. And finally, Lady Justice, with Implacable, Last Stand and Justice Unleashed. The Republican Democrats have got a Carrion Effigy, Chiaki, with Disguise. Yin Penangalalan, with Disguise. Yan Lo, with Brutal Karaoke, Necrotic Preparation and Reliquary. The Porter of Souls, Anna Lovelace, with Disguise. And Izamu the Armour, with Decaying Aura. So the scheme pool's pretty killy, and we're all going to be bunched in the centre, so I reckon in order to win I'm probably going to have to kill Lady Justice. And I am hoping that focusing her down with my big hitters, especially with help from Izamu's Decaying Aura, the FAQ'd version. Hoping I should be able to do that fairly quickly. The effigy is going to run around marking people for death. Soul Porter staying back in case he's taking hunting party. And in terms of the strategy, I've got a lot of models that push or move other models around. So the goal is to use Chiaki and Anna primarily to stand by the marker, pushing people away and then interacting with it. I would like Izamu a little bit out of the way, with the idea that if Lord Trumpy Bits gets summoned, I can lightning dance him to go hang out with Izamu, and I think that matchup will work out pretty well in my favour, as he won't be able to do all his healing, and Anna will be preventing any placing or pushing or moving, so he won't be able to get back to the centre. So yeah, I think I've got some good tools. Let's see how it goes. Turn 1, some high, some low, it's all fine. I plan to be pretty cautious this turn. In fact, both of us are pretty cautious. The Brutal Emissary's come up and been defensive, he's put up his aura of negative or plus flips or whatever it is. I really do need to learn this crew, but in good time. The rest of the guild have just shuffled up to the wall, I've shuffled up to my wall, Chiaki and Yan have gone defensive, I think. The Soul Porter pushed Yin and Izamu. And I think Anna did her soul firing ability at the emissary, putting 3 damage on. Or 2 after armor. But then I get a bit reckless. I fly Yin over the wall, and the idea was to go defensive. But I get Gnawing Fears off on the emissary, and I can't help myself, guys. He's now only at like positive for willpower jewels, thanks to his and Queeg's auras. So I cast Fear Behind the Eyes and push into base contact. My thinking being to choke up this area. Lady Justice gets the final activation, and thanks to Unimpeded she managed to walk, quite an impressive distance to engage. Yin takes a swing, and thanks to all the positives that Queeg is giving everyone, yeah, that hurt a lot. Hang in there, Yin! And this is how things look at the end of the turn, where I finally take a picture of with the zoom out. Not happy that Yin's almost dead, but am happy that Lady Justice has been pulled out this far, and is oh so very chargeable by Izamu and shootable by these guys. Although El Mayor makes this a lot less fun, I've got to admit. Turn 2, Rush of Magic and a Soul Stone. Yep, they're working for my hand. I lose the initiative, and Lady Justice nobbles Yin. She then pulls back to safety, but Izamu's not having it. With Yin lost, my idea of having Yin guard the centre whilst Izamu's off towards the side and lightning dancing things over towards him, that's not going to work anymore. I put him in the centre so he can engage the area around the polling station and hit Justice. But thanks to El Mayor, I only hit once, doing 4 damage and really draining my hand, meaning the emissary just trots over and buries him, which is extremely upsetting. I think the Soul Porter pushed Chiaki through the wall, and the effigies just come up to stand and engage people. I'm trying to waste activations, and it's going to be hard for anyone to get to that marker to interact from it from the guild side. Exorcist comes in and gets some pretty good cards, bringing the effigy to its hard to kill. Lovelace walks in, swirling dams the Exorcist, and then vortexes the brutal emissary away. Queeg's the only one that fails the duel and gets pushed back, which was quite nice. I was thinking about trying to lightning dance him with Yan Lo, but that would have made me really quite vulnerable. So I'll settle for shifting his aura of fucking magic back away from my crew. Francisco wades in to block Chiaki off from interacting with the pole station. I think Chiaki tries twice to push him away, but some kind of buff the emissary is giving out is giving him double flips, and it's not going to work. So Yan Lo lightning dances him away, and then illegally casts his vote because he's not disguised. What a naughty, cheating Yan Lo! So we flipped a card, and Lord Trumpy Bits didn't come out, but that was an illegal move. No VP scored. So I've got Yan Lo in a rather tricky position for no gain. I may have Spirit Barrage something, probably Justice. And then, as I'm only on 1 chi, because nothing's been considerate enough to die, I can't ascend to Spirit Ascendant, so I use my 0 action to heal the effigy to full. But this is seriously not a good position for my little old man to be in, so I'm trying to think about what I would have done differently. I couldn't actually fit him in this area on this side of the marker, which would have been much nicer. I could have lightning danced over here again and sent Frank to go hang out with the Soul Porter. It means the Soul Porter would probably die next turn. Bad if he's got a hunting party, but that would limit the damage Frank can do this turn, next turn, and put me a little bit more safe. I don't like the idea of standing next to him without incorporeal up, because flurry, melee 7 and minimum damage 4 is quite sickening. I'm missing Izamu and Yin a lot, gotta admit. So at the end of turn, the guild score marked for death, because Lady Justice marked Yin before she slew her. Turn 3, here we go. Yan Lo would really appreciate the initiative. Nope, it's gonna be one of those games. Brutal Effigy runs in, after putting Fear Not the Sword on Justice. Don't think it has an engagement range, so I'm curious as to why he moved it there. It's got no fear, this little thing, and then accomplices to Justice, who I think walks, marks Yan Lo for death, engages the effigy through the gap, which is a bit annoying, and hits him for a bejesus amount of damage. This looks to me like a red Joker, which I soulstone liberally, really missing the incorporeal. And he declares neutralise the leader. So the carrion effigy goes, just moves over to here, puts the 0 action on Yan Lo. And instead of marking Justice for death, I decide to hit her. because that bitch needs some wounds on her. And he actually does manage it to put 1 wound on. No poison, unfortunately. Yanlo accomplices, because damn, I need to get some health back. Discard a card for chi, discard a card for some healing, and heal too. Now I'm trying to look for an escape route, and I don't really see one. Francisco is not a place I want to be on such low damage. I want to be in Chiaki's line of sight so she can do her cleansing death on him. And I can't even see the effigy to get some lightning dancing around on him done. Oh, what a mess. Where are you, Izamu? Side to side, just to suck it up and pound on Justice with my Spirit Barrage, because that's the only thing that's got high enough accuracy to get through El Mayor. And I actually don't do too badly. I think I take her down to, like, she's on 4 wounds by the end of this. So I score Neutralise the Leader. So the Exorcist charges in, makes Chiaki and Yanlo undead. I think he damages himself on Yanlo's necrotic preparations. And I think he was already injured, because I think I used Yanlo's Spirit Barrage on him last turn, not Lady Justice. So Chiaki went and killed him with the calling, whatever it's called, enabling her to finally use her triggers, and so she put the Cleansing Death, healing Yanlo too, and making him not undead. But that was my last card, and the Death Marshal seizes its chance, moves in, and pine boxes Yanlo. I hate my life. So the Emissary runs all the way over here, knowing his arm is going to pop out after it activates, and gets him away from Lady Justice very cleverly, and then never bluffs a 6 gun, shooting Anna, Chiaki, and my effigy. Doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. It soaks a few soul stones from Anna, but yeah, 3 attacks off of 1 AP. Very good ability that. So Zamu pops out. I have no cards, so I fail my walk duel, but I've still got enough AP to put the boot in on Francisco a bit, so he's not looking very healthy. I think Anna activates. She fails her walk duel. She tries to vortex everyone away and fails, and then she thinks she tries to hit Francisco and fails. It's left to the Soul Porter, who can't charge because of that frickin' disguise, so he walks up just within range of Francisco and hits the devil, bringing him to his last wound and giving chi to Chiaki. Yes, not bad, Soul Porter. So we end the turn and no one's cast their vote. I've got a point for Neutralise the Leader, he's got 3 points for Neutralise the Leader, and 2 for Mark for Death. It's not going well, ladies and gentlemen. We go to turn 4 and I get a great hand. I didn't even need a Soul Stone for this. Yeah, what can I say? This is what I need. I lose the initiative, Lady Justice goes, she kills the effigy who'd been marked for death at some point, I just can't remember who did it, and then just fucking saunters away. Now that's insulting. I make just a terrible mistake here, guys. Francisco's on 1 wound, I'm pretty sure, Emissary's on like 6. I decide to attack the Emissary with Zamu. I don't realise he's got El Mayor, and the thinking is, by killing him, I stop more stuff getting buried, I free up Chiaki and she can go vote. So I cheat to succeed my walk duel, focus, and hit the Emissary, planning to do the Red Joker for damage, and then finish him off with a backswing. But I end up having to cheat the Red Joker to actually hit, and then the severe damage doesn't bring the Emissary to its heart to kill. I recall hitting Francisco with Melee Expert, but clearly nothing came of it, so yeah, now I'm just totally screwed. Francisco then uses Infrantis to me to place out of Anna's Gravity Well aura, very clever, and then pushes the Emissary over here, just outside of 1 inch of Anna, which he shouldn't be able to do because of her clockwork dress, but I forgot. He then does a little bit of damage to Izamu, and the Soul Porter chases him, but can't finish Frank off. What I should have done would be to move Anna over here to engage a Death Marshal to stop him running away, because that's exactly what he does. You can see him there through this window. What a bastard. Yanlo can't escape because I've used my high cards, and my opponent's been saving his to keep me in the box. Chiaki went, failed her slow test, tried to kill Frank with her calling, clearly didn't work. Possibly she tried to push the Emissary, I can't remember. Anna goes, fails her slow test, fails to push the Emissary, I think Queeg's aura is helping now, and then I think she walked to here. But Queeg and the Emissary killed her, and now I know what it feels like to have the FBI going through my emails. Turn 5, never give up. I lose the initiative, Frank slices and dices Izamu. Bugger. But the Soul Porter claims his head with his little pointy stick of death. Queeg muscles in, and I think ends up pushing Checky over here, trying to set her up for Justice to come for her, but she flees back over here, finally passing a slow test, marks the emissary for death but can't kill it, but Justice comes for her in the end. I think the effigy marked her for death before she fell. Over here, I finally break free from the box. It's not too late, I can get back in the centre, summon Izamu, and we can fucking kill Justice. Nope, back in the box. And then the little bastard runs off for the corner. Sigh, I hate being buried. So as no one's interacted with the marker to vote again, the score is 6-1 I think. But we lose track of turns and go on for another glorious turn 6. Tried to cheat by drawing too many cards, but put one back, so that's all fine. Finally get the initiative, and the Soul Porter, frickin' death machine, takes down the emissary. Oh my god, this guy's a hero. Surprisingly, my victory dance doesn't last very long, and the Sword of Justice erases the Resurrectionists from the map, and yes, of course, Yanlo was not able to get out of his box. Queeg casts his vote, but no Trumpy Bits emerges, and so in this world, justice prevails over tyranny. Okay, that's the end of the game, guys. And yeah, this one went south, and stayed south, but it was still a ton of fun. The guild scored 1 point for the strategy, 3 points for neutralise the leader, and 3 points for mark for death. The Resurrectionists scored no points for the strategy, 1 point for neutralise the leader, and 2 points for mark for death, making this game 7-3 to the guild. And as a result, the Trickster decides to infiltrate the guild and help them hunt down petty criminals by making walls disappear at inconvenient moments and such. Yeah, good writing there. But yeah, fun game, completely outclassed by my opponent, and this game felt uphill all the way. I really enjoyed Yanlo, I really like the tools he has, but I've just got to learn how to use them. Trying to think what went wrong, I think it's my positioning. I just wasn't able to leverage enough power to the spots it needed to go to, so yeah, like I overextended Yin early, but it did draw Lady Justice out, so I wasn't, I'm not too unhappy with that. It was a mistake to get Izamu tangling with Lady Justice while she had El Mayor up, and especially when she was within Queeg and the emissary's bubbles for the various things they do, and not focusing my efforts on bringing down Francisco later on in the game with Izamu was just a terrible, terrible play. The big feature of this game was in taking apart my crew with Burial. Really nicely done. I lost my big beater for a turn, and then it ended up in a position that couldn't score me points. I lost my master from turn 3 onwards. Just made it impossible to deal with his crew. Getting Anna locked up in combat wasn't great. She needs to be kind of in the backfield shooting at stuff, putting that min damage 3 in possible summoning to use. She's a great model, but she's not great as a lightning dance target, I don't think. And I feel what the guild was doing with Burial, I need to be doing with Lightning Dance. Can't complain about the Soul Porter though. Using them to finish off damaged models that get sucked into Yanlo's crew's lines and beaten on but not taken down, that's how I think he's supposed to be played. No one expects melee 6 on a totem. So yeah, things to think about, things to learn, more practice needed. Okay, so all that's left is to make some final comments, and this is a warning. If you don't mix your wargaming with your politics, just hit the off button and I'll catch you on the next one. I've been a bit irreverent towards the new president-elect, Donald Trump, in this video, and I just want to assure you that it is indeed only a thin veil for my concern. I'm not sure really where I'm going with this, other than just to get things off my chest. I applaud the European leaders who have given Trump a cold reception, and I'm ashamed of the UK's sycophantic tone. We are literally the global whore at the moment. Bent over with arse wiggling in the air. But that said, an antagonistic relationship between Europe and America is clearly unhelpful for Western stability, and Brexit needs to clinch some deals fast, because there's always a deeper pit of shit to be in. Basically, we're all in a position where I don't really see that we have a choice but to work together with a burgeoning despot whose rhetoric is an affront to everything we stand for, and I just despair. I'll say of Trump, I don't think he's an idiot, at least not in the clinically defined sense. He's used knee-jerk statements instead of actual policy to mobilise just enough of the electorate to win, And he's noticed that saying absurd things and not backing down is attractive to people, and is clearly happy to ignore the judgment of reasonable people and do his own thing. And this should worry us. The man shows every sign of being unstable. Let alone a liar to the extent that would make a child feigning innocence whilst being covered in chocolate with their hand stuck in the cookie jar would make them blush. Yeah, but I'm not saying anything original. However, he hasn't actually done anything yet, and perhaps I should be a bit more dignified and hold back on the hysteria. I mean, indeed, he has actually made some early noises about not wanting to, completely dismantle Obamacare wholesale, and has shown a little bit of, disinterest in talking about Hillary's incarceration, which kind of, just kindles the hope that he's simply a national-scale con man, rather than Nero or Caligula in a suit. However, it does look like he's still going to go ahead with his life wall to stop those American kaiju. And he has got Myron Ebel leading the Environmental Protection Agency transition. That doesn't look promising. Oh, but wasn't climate change just a Chinese hoax? Yeah, that sounds reasonable. But basically, my main concern is that, what has led us to Trump and to Brexit and to the nationalist movements in Europe, etc., is something's clearly not going right in our societies, and clearly some people are moving ahead and a lot of people are getting left behind. I'm not sure if it's purely economic. It's definitely part of it, but looking at the voting statistics, at least for the US election, suggests that there wasn't much in it. I think Trump supporters slightly skew towards lower incomes, and Hillary's towards higher incomes, but it's really not that much in it. There certainly seems to be a big divergence in worldview, and we really have got to start to converge, or bad things are going to happen. People of America and the UK appear to have chosen to step backwards to try and gather ourselves up before we can hopefully start going forwards again. We'll have to see if that works. I'm not hopeful it will be in my lifetime. Depressing. Polarisation is something that human societies seem to be inherently bad at coping with. Historically, democracies seem to be somewhat resistant to civil war, but it has happened. Obviously, democracy is going to war with other nations as some precedent. Basically, we need to sort this out before we start killing each other, guys. How do we solve this almighty clusterfuck in the making? I don't freaking know. But I want to encourage you to really ask yourself, why you think what you think about any given issue. And then talk about it honestly with other people. Talk about it with the guy across the table who just kicked your little undead gribblies back to the afterlife, and find out what they think and why. And maybe eventually, over time, someone will learn something new. More self-reflection and more open conversation has got to be a start. At least, that's what I want to try. Make of all that what you will. Until the next game, take care.